Okay, I'm making southern cornbread, and I guess the reason it's called southern cornbread, it's made with bacon grease instead of vegetable oil. So what I've done is I've got this 12-inch iron skillet, and I greased it with Crisco. And I'm going to go ahead and turn the burner on to about medium high and get this melting. Okay, what I use is this Martha White self-rising cornmeal or buttermilk cornmeal mix. I use the recipe as a guide, but I don't go by the recipe exactly because it calls for using milk. I use buttermilk. It calls for using Crisco vegetable oil. I use bacon grease. Makes a difference. And I'm making a bigger cornbread pan or pie, whatever, cake, whatever it's called, because I'm actually going to use my cornbread to make my dressing, and that's going to be, you'll see that video also. But what I did is I have about 3 cups of the dry cornmeal mix, and I'm adding, it's just over 2 cups of milk, buttermilk. And then I'm going to get 2 eggs. And then it calls for the vegetable oil. Well, this is where my bacon grease comes in. I fried some fresh bacon the other night, and this is the grease separator. And this actually calls for a 1/4 cup of vegetable oil. This is a measuring cup of, it's a 1 cup measuring cup. I'm going to fill it about halfway. And that's what I'm going to use. And this does make a difference in the taste. So then spoon. Should already have this out. And I always mix this with a spoon. I don't know why. I guess the mess that it can make. And I use it in this measuring cup. Oh, and I do have my oven on 450. It's already preheated. So go ahead, when you start this, preheat your oven to 450. And just mix this up pretty good. Start off slow, and then you can mix it a little faster. And it makes it come out better, cook better when you cook it in an iron skillet. I mean, you don't have to. I've done it in a regular oven safe skillet before. Iron skillets make it easier also. So you want it about like this consistency. And you can see my skillet over here. And you also have to be careful when you're using iron about the handle. Right now this handle isn't hot, but it will get hot, very hot. So it's starting to melt the sides, and I'm actually going to turn it up to high right now. And you'll see why in just a minute. You can see it's starting, well, it's hard to tell on video, but it's starting to smoke a little bit, so it's done. I'm going to grab another spatula here. So when it's all melted, I have a little bit of water on my hand. Go ahead and turn that off. And you want to pour it in, and you want that sizzle. It's going to give it the bottom crispiness to it. So kind of push that out to the sides. And the directions say to cook it for, well, if I could read, 15 to 20 minutes or until golden brown. So you just watch it. And this is a very heavy skillet. So I'm going to have my oven mitt in the end here to hold both sides. Just slide it in. And I'm going to set my timer. I'm going to set it for 15. Like I said in another recipe that my oven cooks fast. So we'll check it in 15 minutes and see what it looks like. So we'll see you back in 15. Okay, so my timer just went off on the oven for the cornbread. I'm going to do the poke test to make sure it's done. Just a few little crumbs and they're pretty dry, so yes, it's done. So this is very hot. I'm just going to stick it right here on these plates, or pads, I mean. And there's your cornbread. When I was growing up, we didn't cut the cornbread in like perfect little pie slices. We just tore pieces off. It was wonderful. My grandma made the best cornbread. And what I'm doing is I'm making this cornbread to go in dressing. A lot of people call it stuffing. It's dressing here in the South. So, but that's what the cornbread looks like. It's kind of, the pan's kind of heavy for me to flip it over right now. So I'm going to let it cool in the pan for a little while. And then I'm going to flip it over, and then I'll show a quick picture of that after it cools. Because I'll probably have to get my husband to help me flip it out of the pan. It's just really heavy. And awkward trying to do that. So I'll do a quick little video, or add to the video in just a little bit once it cools down and it's manageable. That way you can see the bottom side of it. But like I said, this is going to be used for my cornbread dressing. And we're having this for Easter. So see you back in a minute. Okay, so my cornbread, we flipped it out, and I want you to know, or listen, how crispy that is. If you serve it, this is how I would serve it, on a big platter, because it's so big. It is a 12-inch cake. But like I said, I'm going to use this to make dressings, cornbread dressing. But when I was a kid, we just would pinch off a piece and grab it and throw some butter on it. Oh man, right out of the oven, it was wonderful. So I hope you enjoy. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to add them and I will respond to them. Thanks.